you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I am back. Pop Links is back with another book review. All right, straight to the main course. Food of the Gods, one of my favorite books of all time, because as he said out his own mouth, he wrote this as an intellectual Trojan horse. But yeah, listen, Food of the Gods is, where do I even start with this dead to me on an intellectual basis? First of all, I reevaluated my whole understanding of what type of society we live on, number one. Number two, I found it very interesting when he brought in the idea that psilocybin, the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, was the main catalyst for human consciousness. Now, at first, when you first hear this, it's like, how is that even possible? That doesn't make any sense. But once you dive down into it, like, suppresses activity in a default mode network, which is where our sense of self residually sits on a day-to-day basis. What else? Breaking up of the hierarchical dominator style that we use in our society. Iconography, the imagery in it, hypnagogia, the glossolalia, he went through the whole 9 yards of different aspects in our society and how those attribute to the way we think about society, and why are some things deemed acceptable and some acceptable, some not acceptable, some acceptable. That's just a part of what it is. And his whole gist is that there was, pulling from another book that I've read, The Chalice and the Blade by Rayon Eisler. She talked about that the patriarch and matriarch society, it wasn't always a pendulum swing between those two styles of governorship. It was actually a partnership society, and people using these ancient visionary plants would live harmoniously amongst each other, and they didn't have the same social paradigms that we have today, and that they lived harmoniously with each other, and they were able to get along until the very same thing that brought these ancient visionary plants into the usage was the same thing that took it away. Maybe it was a catastrophic event, maybe it was they got infiltrated. Whatever happened in that time frame moved them away from their access to the divine realm, which would be the ancient visionary plants. Now, if we go back to almost every civilization on this planet, they all come from groups of people using ancient visionary plants. Maybe it was plants for medicine. They were either plants for achieving contact with, quote unquote, the divine realm. It would be used for hunting. They would be used for successful copulation. They would be used for numerous things. So, even sustenance, for eating, just for living from day-to-day life. So plants were used in all different aspects of life, and we deviated from using numerous plants to heal ourselves to a selected few grains, and those selected few grains we use today are the cereal grains. And he extrapolates from that how the advent of agriculture was really the long march towards hell. Like he articulated that very well, and how we went from hunter-gatherer societies to modern day societies that we're in now. I feel like, and if we really want to talk about that, we can mention the ancient story from Sumer, if I'm not mistaken. Babylon, Sumer, Mesopotamia, that whole area, the Epic of Gilgamesh, where Gilgamesh and Enkidu were best friends, and Ishtar was the goddess, and Gilgamesh was a good kid up until he achieved power, and then he got power hungry, and then from being power hungry, the gods created Enkidu. Enkidu was essentially Gilgamesh's exact counterpart. He was the wild version of Gilgamesh. He was good, if you want to do the whole good versus bad scenario, where at that point in the story when Gilgamesh became the king of where he ruled over. He was kind of a tyrant at that point. So Enkidu was created to counterbalance Gilgamesh. And what I'm saying by this is that nature has that same compensatory phenomenon going on within inside of itself, where all throughout history, these ancient visionary tribes have been stomped out. And then they keep coming back because history repeats itself. It keeps. You could go through Mycenaean culture. You could go through European culture, mystery of Eleusis. We could go through the Mexican culture. We can go through South America. We could go through Africa. We could go through all these cultures around the world where there was some ties to nature. People lived harmoniously with the planet. They either a catastrophic event happened that caused them to move out of that space, or they got invaded and then they lost their connection. And then the people who conquered them instilled their values and their system into them. So then they became solipsized, or imperial solipsized, I would like to say that. And from that point on, they carried on traditions, not their traditions, but traditions of the people who conquered them. See where I'm getting at here? So he extrapolated off of that all these ideas that we're moving through in society are moving us away from the archaic revival, which is the true sense of self, the true human being, the denouement of what we are, our greatest essence. And we got caught up in People magazine and the Bibble show and this and that. But long story short, without getting off track, the food of the gods is an intellectual Trojan horse to tell you, or to tell your unconvinced neighbor, that, bro, you think this is the only source of knowledge that we can get from institutions, and you don't think that there's vast amounts of data that to be held in nature and to be drawn and used from nature? I don't know. That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide when you read the book. But yeah, this is why that's one of my favorite books. I absolutely love these guys. I love Terence McKenna. I love the way he thinks. I love the way he can articulate his ideas. And I love the way he helped me expand my consciousness and my mind to help me wrap my head around some of the things that I've been wondering about my whole life. So that's why Food of the Gods is one of my favorite books, and I recommend you get it for your bookshelf because it's on mine. And until next time, peace. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I want to throw that in the loop. Make sure you do all that because I will be doing book reviews and other videos as well. So just stay tuned. Peace.